Cosmodore was a German cartoon reviewer YouTuber at age 21 with over 250,000 subscribers. He focused on reviewing animated films and bulk episodes. But having over 250,000 subscribers is nice, but how do we measure the real success of Cosmo? Well, he got to voice on Did You Know Gaming. The pinnacle of success on YouTube is not being a millionaire or appearing in a bad YouTube movie. It's instead educating the masses with video game facts.
All Nickelodeon crossover games in Europe are distributed as SpongeBob and Friends.
Just like how this video will educate you on the deep dive of Cosmodore that ultimately led him up to deleting his channel. It all started with a December 2019 tweet, now deleted, where Cosmodore reveals he had been dating a minor during the course of 2019. Within the post, he states that he was 19 and they were 15. He notes he never met the person in real life and never even had a photo of them. In the comment section, he implies that he never actually knew the age of the person, but in another reply he says he may have known about it, so keep that in mind for the rest of the video. June 2020, Cosmodore releases a video on his channel where he expresses that he is unhappy with YouTube and decides to take an extended break. A break short-lived, as a month later in July 2020, Cosmodore posts in his community tab further information regarding the dating of the minor. After reading this post, I realized there was a lot more to the story than what Cosmodore told people. So after doing some research, asking around, and getting in contact with the victim and Cosmodore, I found 3 of the major reasons that this wasn't public before. Number 1 was due to the lack of coherent information regarding the situation. Number 2, the victim not wanting it to be public, as well as the fact that, due to the tweet being deleted shortly after posting, most weren't aware of its existence. And so with the help of the great Ponder Sprocket, we're going to tackle this unraveling story to see what happened and what can we learn from it for the future.
The ages are consistent between each of the writings, the tweet and the community post, but it is best to note when they were dated. Between February 2019 and July 2019 was when it happened, with additional info being Cosmo's birthday being sometime in May and usernames being in June. So 19 and 15 became 20 and 16. But at the very least they never met up, right? Technically yes and no, as they had planned to meet each other at MomoCon 2019 with reference in this DM as well as this separate one here. Although they weren't able to meet up, Cosmodore expressed interest in seeing them next year. But what stopped him from flying out to see the minor? Buying a gaming PC. I can't believe this is the first time a video game saved a kid. Side note, interesting that Cosmodore would fly to see a minor without seeing a picture of them first. Sure. On the parents' side, also mentioned in the DM, it wasn't until Username's parents were told about the relationship until any meeting was planned. This is a good time to bring up the app Mealy. Something Daft and I didn't know about until gathering research, is that Cosmo tells Username his mother had an 18-year-old boyfriend when she was 14 with a similar situation with a friend. It could be speculated that for Cosmo himself, the relationship that they had seemed normal to him, and so he might not have felt too bad regarding it. Aside from those tidbits and big bits, it's a little disheartening to see the half-truth written within that post, as hiding these small aspects shines a different light on the situation. As so many of those defending him most likely wouldn't agree with what he did if he introduced the fact that he actively tried to see the minor, but also that he grew up in an environment where this was normalized. Noting before his power with his audience, the young Username was swept up with him, and until the breakup never really knew what side effects could happen. You see, with him being a part of the art reviewer community, he has a hidden bigger say than they do. So there's the possibility that in an event he could excommunicate them or even drive business away from them if they intended to keep the same username. With that fear mixed in with a developing brain, you can understand part of Username's dilemma with Cosmodore in regards to speaking up on the situation. Circling back to the Discord DMs, although he was the one that dropped the ball in seeing Username, a ball worth dropping, he still tried to shift the blame to Username, which translates well to the Rule 34 he sent to them. Rule 34 is just porn. It's a fancier phrase to dress up that nasty expired word salad. However, it writes better when confessing. Talking with the victim, Username sent us DMs between them and Cosmo regarding this. When asking for such screenshots, it is important to say that when checking the backlogs, Username noticed Cosmo deleted every single message between them. We were able to line up the dates with the deleted messages to confirm they are the same person. Hopping over to Twitter, their cropping actually did something useful, and so you won't see anything but ill intentions. Yes, the title of this video is unfortunately accurate, as by these screenshots and partial confession, he was actively grooming the kid, going so far as asking this minor their tolerance level. Gross. To top off this bad sandwich is that Cosmo has acknowledged this is not something he should be doing. Within his confession message to username, he specifically states, "Again, I realize this comes off as creepy," mixed in with this quote from his post, "I genuinely wanted to be with them and I still care about them a lot," as well as this direct quote from Cosmodore.
When I dated the person in question, I knew that something like this would happen. Of course, I never expected it to be kept a secret forever, but that didn't matter to me. Being with them was so much more important to me than whatever internet fame could bring me. And that kind of still rings true.
That was a YouTube story made by Cosmodore the day after Daft called him to get a statement from Cosmo on his post. It's a little heart-wrenching to listen to this story, but it's also interesting, as on one hand, you have an instance of grooming, yet on the other hand, you have an instance of normalization with that behavior that Cosmo might be trying to overcome. This is likely because he had just turned 20, which on average is around the time one would question certain aspects of their upbringing that they grew up in. I know I certainly did. During the months leading up to his departure from YouTube, Cosmodore got rid of his Discord server, with some members then joining Daft's to ask about what happened. Cosmodore's Twitter page was deactivated, and checking Social Blade, a lot of tweets and media were deleted. So at this point in time, what if any social medias did Cosmo have besides YouTube? Upon some digging, Cosmodore has a secret Discord server full of about 15 people from his previous one. Daft spoke to 2 members, with them being apprehensive releasing any info about the server and the contents in it besides this initial screenshot. Best keep in mind, this is not a Patreon server, rather a personal one with Cosmodore and seemingly a few close friends. The first member, who will remain anonymous, gave a plethora of screenshots and noted that there are at least 2 minors within the server. Knowing Cosmo's track record with kids of that age, it was interesting to find out that there was a chat called Horny Field, to which, after Daft asked for further info regarding that, they stated it was a joke chat in which members would share Rule 34. But the anonymous user noted that Cosmo had deleted the chat on July 24th out of fear that someone would leak that info. This could be an instance of ill intent or just stupidity in creating the chat, and possibly isn't a good way to interact with your fans. We won't go into too much detail regarding the chat itself, as it was more of a venting piece for Cosmo, but the anonymous user was able to confirm a few things. Only Cosmo's 20-something girlfriend was mentioned in the server, the minor he dated wasn't, and that he only vaguely spoke about losing friends over his post. He mentions within it that he wants to be held accountable for his actions, but is also in fear that he is unclear with some of the aspects he left out. Of course, this is a tough subject to talk about, as the victim would be best left anonymous. However, with what we found, the stuff left out was more than just a username, rather some pivotal moments that could change the perspective on the character of Cosmo. So bringing this additional information to the public is important, as it gives a better picture of the events that occurred, as well as potential outcomes for future case scenarios. Like Cosmo said, he is glad to be held accountable, so that's why this video is being made. When having a YouTube channel or an audience on any platform, it comes with a lot of advantages and disadvantages. Your works inspire others to create and give enjoyment to people's lives, or even disappointment if you're the director of the film you critique, but this comes with being your best self for you and your community. Cosmodore dated a minor, sent porn to a minor, and has shown to be potentially hiding a lot of the details. The aforementioned 20-something girlfriend Cosmo was dating split ways, as when she found out more about what happened, she decided to leave and block him. This showcases that the information that Cosmo was withholding was enough to change their mind so that they would then stay away from Cosmo. As within this chat, Cosmo had found out that his ex thought of him as the best thing to ever happen to her. Takes a lot to change that, just saying. Going back to the call between Cosmodore and Daft in July mentioned previously, there was something that felt odd to me. When Daft called him to get a statement, he asked a few questions, one in which seemed to catch Cosmo off guard.
I've heard you're commissioning someone for a new avatar. Are you looking to jump accounts?
Where did he hear that from?
Is it yes or no?
I don't... I'm not trying to go in hiding, if that's what you're implying. It's a personal project I'm working on. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with it yet.
We must wait and see what this ends up being. However, fully jumping ship onto a new account is not necessarily a way of being fully accountable or wanting to be better. One of the last things Cosmodore posted on the matter was a twit longer released July 26th, 5 AM his time, in which he details his spiral after it was known he dated a minor. Within the post, Cosmo expresses his feelings on social isolation and wonders how to go about a situation that he put himself in. A lot of the fears he expresses mainly focus on the internet, and his main worry is that he is unable to return. The post sort of implies that thoughts of legal pursuit and morals aren't necessarily on his mind, and one can infer internet points matter more than the person affected. Overall, if you haven't guessed it already, Cosmo was, and is, kind of a terrible person, from dating a minor, manipulating them with grooming, and stalking them after the relationship, and especially character, are disgraced. His leave of the internet is kind of a necessary one, if not for the sake of the victim, but the sake of everyone he abused and lied to with his actions. Frankly, he shouldn't be welcome back anytime soon, and everyone coming out to talk about it is for the better of the community to know and acknowledge this behavior so we can never let it happen again. For closing statements, the victim wanted to talk with their perspective to finally put everything to rest.
Speaking to him directly here, this is over. Don't try to apologize to me. Don't try to contact me. I genuinely hope, he gets help. I also remember him talking about, that therapy doesn't work and they'll just tell you what you want to hear. After all of these constant cycle and evidence of his mistakes, saying he's sorry, then repeating the same thing again and again, I can't begin to describe you how frequently person would try and stalk me. And it's scary because he knows my name, he knows my location, and back in November, December, tried on every single platform that I could think of just to contact me. Even earlier this year, he found new accounts that I had and stalked me from there, and then would talk about it to his close friends. And then those close friends told me about it and things he said about me during those times. It's absolutely disgusting. Every single time he says in those apologies, oh, I respect this person's privacy, he's not being truthful. He's being disingenuous. Don't trust whatever this person says. That's all I have to say. Go away, Cosmo. Bye.
When researching for the video, there was one more victim of Cosmodore. Searching through the Wayback Machine on Cosmodore's Twitter, he makes an offhanded comment on Ellis Mark, who was 16 at the time. Speaking with him and reading this message and comparing it to the past actions of Cosmodore, it was at first hard for Mark to come to term that Cosmodore tried to groom him. But thankfully, he's out of his life. If there's anyone else who is a victim of Cosmodore, it is good to speak up as you're not alone, and your voice matters. Thank you for everyone who is a part of this video. I'm glad you watched till the end, so please, have a good day.